When it comes to the history of Korean fantasy literature, Lee Woo-hik's Exorcist stands tall like a giant mountain range. Before Exorcist, the realm of fantasy in Korean literature was dominated by martial arts novels. Like the stories of heroes roaming the vast lands, martial arts captured the imagination of Koreans. Over time, works that fused martial arts and pure fantasy emerged, breaking new ground in Korean fantasy literature. The Exorcism Book was more than just a novel, it was a social phenomenon. As the movie poster shows, it sold an astounding 10 million copies. And not bringing it to the screen would be like leaving a gem untouched. A Korean film adaptation had already been made, but unfortunately, it was a box office flop. The main culprit was the lack of VFX technology, which couldn't do justice to the story's vast world and spectacular action. It was like trying to paint a masterpiece with an old brush. Implementing VFX technology in Korea that would have been difficult even in Hollywood was even more challenging. The Korean VFX technology at the time did not meet the high expectations of audiences. Audiences expected the visual quality of a Hollywood movie, but the technology at the time was not up to the task. "This is a good movie" was not enough to satisfy their disappointment. It was like expecting a grand orchestra to play, but only a few instruments. Recently, the Book of Exorcism was remade as an animated feature. It was quietly released without much marketing, but audiences responded enthusiastically. Longtime fans of Exorcism were reacquainted with Exorcism as adults, and they were enthusiastic about the animated Exorcism. It was like seeing an old friend again. I watched Exorcism without much expectation, but what I saw as soon as the movie started exceeded my expectations. Although Korean dramas and movies are currently gaining popularity around the world, the animation field still leaves much to be desired compared to Japan. Japanese animation has a strong fan base around the world, so much so that there is a term called reanimation. In Japan, the animation industry has developed to the point where most of the box office hits are anime. Like the trees that make up a giant forest, Japanese animation boasts a wide variety of genres and styles. Korean animation has always left something to be desired when it comes to children's animation. But when it comes to adult animation, South Korea has always been a subcontractor for Japanese animation. And while its drawing skills have never been inferior, it has lacked the technical skills to translate them to video. It's like a samurai finally drawing his sword after years of training. I think this advancement in technology is what led to the success of the animated film Exorcism Book. The animation was natural without any awkwardness, the story was well developed, and I was especially pleased with the colorful sequences that only animation can show, which are hard to show in a live-action movie. Like a colorful fireworks display, the animation provided a lot to capture the imagination. Fans of the original movie may have expected more from the live-action movie, but the anime captured the feel of the original story. The break-even point for the animated version of The Exorcist is estimated to be around 1 million. If it had been a live-action movie, it would have needed more than 5 million people to break even. Like the difference between a delicate sculpture and a massive one, animation has a different appeal than a live-action movie. The 85-minute running time was clean and uncluttered, and it was nice to see that the movie focused on the core characters without introducing unnecessary ones. I hope that the anime Exorcism Book will be successful and continue to be produced as a series. I think audiences who watched the anime Exorcism Book were satisfied. Like a well-crafted puzzle, the anime Exorcism Book was a complete work.